Walking the Wire, Chapter 16 of Holographic Multiverse. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share something incredibly personal and intense with you. A Chapter 16 from a book, Holographic Multiverse, that literally left me shaking. It's called Walking the Wire. And honestly, it's one of the most raw, visceral pieces of writing I've ever encountered. This isn't your typical scary story. This is someone's real experience of being trapped between consciousness and something far more terrifying. Complete dissolution of self. So, grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let me take you through this unforgettable journey. When your body becomes your prison, picture this: you're awake, completely aware of everything around you, the sound of cars passing, the weight of darkness in your room. But here's the nightmare. Your body isn't responding at all. The chapter opens with this eerie stillness after what the author calls a hallucinogenic night. Time feels warped, broken. Our narrator finds themselves in this horrifying liminal space where their brain is screaming commands, but their body has essentially gone offline. Imagine trying to move your hands, knowing exactly where they are, but feeling absolutely nothing. No sensation, no control. Just this terrifying awareness that your body has betrayed you. The author describes it perfectly. Crossed hands, head resting, complete knowledge that your limbs exist, but zero ability to make them work. And here's what really gets me. In that moment of total helplessness, the immediate thought isn't, "This is temporary," or "I'll be fine." It's straight to, "Am I dead? Am I dying?" That's how profound this disconnection feels. Those 30 seconds of struggling just to open their eyes. The author describes it as an eternity of pure primal fear. It's that gut-level terror we all have about losing control of our own bodies. The false hope that makes everything worse. Now, you'd think regaining movement would be relief, right? Wrong. This is where the story gets even more twisted. When our narrator finally starts to move, fingers first, then legs, instead of feeling better, everything goes haywire. Massive vertigo hits. Nausea crashes over them like a wave. It's like their body isn't just uncooperative anymore. It's actively fighting against them. There's this incredible description of a stone sitting in their diaphragm. Their heart starts racing, blood pressure pounding in their temples. This isn't metaphorical language. This is someone reporting their actual physical reality as their entire system goes into chaos. What I find fascinating is how strategic they become about their own body. Every tiny movement becomes calculated. They use pillows to slowly, incrementally raise themselves up, fighting against their own blood pressure and spatial perception. Even sitting up becomes this monumental victory that gets immediately challenged by more dizziness. Picture having to put your head between your knees just to keep from passing out. This is what reclaiming your own body looks like, one precarious inch at a time. The bathroom, where reality breaks apart. Desperate for some normalcy, just basic human things like light, water, maybe something to drink, our narrator attempts the journey to the bathroom. It's maybe 20 feet, but it might as well be climbing Mount Everest. The cold water on their face provides this brief moment of relief. And then, everything explodes. This is where walking the wire becomes something beyond a medical emergency. The physical symptoms escalate: shaking legs, waves of heat, vision going blurry. But then something far more terrifying happens. The narrator doesn't just feel dizzy anymore. They experience reality itself starting to come apart. Objects in the room begin spreading apart, but here's the part that gave me chills. Even my thoughts and soul were trying to diverge and spread in all directions in space. We're not talking about feeling disconnected anymore. This is the actual, perceived unraveling of consciousness itself, the boundaries of who they are as a person starting to dissolve. The stakes become cosmic. I thought I would lose consciousness, or I will die if I let them diverge. This isn't a fight against nausea. This is a desperate battle against complete annihilation of self. Finding an anchor in the chaos. Here's where something incredible happens. Lying on that bathroom floor, facing what feels like complete dissolution, instinct kicks in. They squeeze their hand at that spot between the thumb and forefinger and get an immediate, electric response. Not just pain, but these electrical impulses shooting through their body, this warm wave up their spine, tingling in their brain. It's both a desperate physiological hack and something almost spiritual, literally grounding their fleeing spirit back into physical flesh. This moment crystallizes something profound about fear. The narrator makes this distinction between daily fear, the normal stuff we worry about, and what they call great fear. Great fear isn't just being scared. It's described as a mixture of endless excitement and fear that comes right before unconsciousness, before death. It's not an emotion. It's the actual atmosphere of mortality itself. The analogy is stark. Daily fear is like knowing devils are nearby. Great fear? That's standing right next to death itself. The battle for consciousness. Back in bed, there's no safety. The great fear has infected the entire room. Every physical symptom, racing heart, heat, tingling, blurred vision, becomes a manifestation of this existential terror. But here's what's remarkable. Our narrator becomes a warrior. Their weapons? Deep breathing, positive self-talk. It is nothing happening. Be strong. Fight to the end. Creating hopeful mental images. They're literally fighting an invisible force that's trying to pull their soul down, battling against this spiral of thoughts, threatening to drag them into oblivion. There's this moment where they're terrified a blood vessel in their brain might just burst from the pressure. Think about how vulnerable that makes you feel. Your body is this fragile, pressurized system that could catastrophically fail at any second. Finding the light. The turning point doesn't come from some miracle cure. It comes from pure endurance and smart choices. Half an hour of sustained deep breathing in that vulnerable head-between-knees position finally brings some stability. The symptoms start backing off, but the trauma lingers. Just the thought of lifting their head becomes an act of courage. Then comes this crucial decision. Get outside. Stay isolated in that room, and there would be nobody to help me. The move to the yard, seeing people walking on the pavement, it's transformative. Suddenly there's external validation that reality still exists. There's the possibility of human connection and help. The crushing, great fear starts to recede. Even something as simple as programming emergency services into their phone becomes this powerful symbol of regained control. Why Walking the Wire is perfect. The title captures everything about this experience. The wire, that impossibly thin line between consciousness and unconsciousness, between having a body that works and complete paralysis, between being a coherent person and dissolving into nothing. The walking, that agonizingly slow, deliberate effort required to navigate that wire. Every breath, every tiny movement, every focused thought becomes a precarious step requiring immense concentration and courage. What this means for all of us. Look, most of us will never experience exactly what this narrator went through. But the core experience? That's universal. We've all faced moments where our bodies or minds turn against us. We've all had to fight for control when everything feels like it's falling apart. What this chapter shows us is that sometimes salvation comes through the smallest actions. Squeezing a hand, breathing deliberately, moving 1 inch at a time, seeking human connection. These tiny acts become monumental strategies for survival. It also gives us language for something that's usually impossible to describe. That specific, annihilating terror that comes when we face our own mortality or feel ourselves dissolving. But maybe most importantly, it shows us both how fragile and how resilient we are. Here's someone broken, terrified, standing at the edge of the abyss, and yet they keep breathing, keep fighting, keep taking those stiff steps forward. That's the real message of walking the wire. We're all skating on thin ice, but we have more courage than we realize. Sometimes the most heroic thing you can do is just keep breathing and take one more step. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had an experience that felt like walking your own wire. And as always, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that change how we see ourselves and the world. If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into the mysteries of the holographic multiverse, I invite you to check out my book. You can get your copy right now. Just follow the link in the description below. Your support not only helps me create more content, but also fuels this journey of exploration. Want even deeper access? Join my Patreon for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and a free download of my book. As a patron, you'll also receive bonus videos on how I conquered insomnia and anxiety, plus a private 30-minute call with me to explore life's biggest questions together. Don't forget to follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X for updates, extra content, and mind-expanding discussions. Links are all below. See you next time.